Welcome back to Board Games Direct, the show where we show you games that you might see at a convention, but you don't have to go to a convention. And this time we've got chunky games. That's right, instead of being crushed by the expectations of people on the internet, I'm being crushed by boxes. As always, a little reminder, these are not reviews. This is separate from our normal editorial content. These are paid previews where we just give you a little look of what's inside a box. Without further ado, let's get chunky.
Hey, Tom. Whisperwood is a game that we're going to show you right now.
What did you say?
I said Whisperwood.
Oh, Whisperwood, yeah. It's druid time, Matt. It's time to be a druid in a magical forest. You're pointing at literally every single component that isn't a druid.
I don't know what druids are.
Well, these are golems.
Okay.
And these are druids.
All right, well, I'm on the side of the golems then, because they look wicked.
Well, you can become a friend of a golem in this game. You can do a lot of things with nature in this one. You're a magical druid wandering around the big old Whisperwood, chatting to golems, chatting to otters, chatting to bears, casting spells, and maybe getting a little bit gloopy with corruption.
There's no crime in it.
Well, corruption is definitely a crime.
Oh.
But maybe not in this game.
Not in this. There's a little fraud in this game?
Yeah, there's a lot of embezzlement from the woods. Before we start with this, I will say that I have set up the game in a slightly weird way so we can get it all on camera. Matt doesn't have a player board.
No.
You didn't earn it. You're not allowed.
I'm an NPC.
You are. I've got the player board in front of me, which we'll probably do some close-ups of because there's a lot going on it. You have got in front of you one of 3 of these little creature tracks. The other 2 are hidden behind this box over here. You'll see you've got a water one and you've got an air one as well. We're not going to put them on the table because it would take up too much space on our tiny little table.
But what are these things?
They're bears.
I like them. They're cute,
really,
cute
really
little
cute.
baby bears.
There's a lot of very cute art in this game, and I imagine there'll be even more in the finished thing. So what actually is this game? It's a bag builder, and most of it can be played simultaneously. You're going to do a few different phases of the game. Yeah, you can imagine. I can give you a real bag. You can
I get a real bag for the demo?
What colour do you want? Orange?
I'm easy.
There you
I'm
go.
just happy to be here.
Isn't it nice? The first part of every round is rummaging around in your bag and pulling tokens out to socket on these little spots here. These are sort of your active pool of available tokens. And along the way, you might pull out these corruption tokens because you might have gone into one of these gloopy corruption zones. And that's bad because normally you'll just rack up this little supply of tokens over here with ones that you want to place, but the corruption tokens, you've got to place them straight away. You put them on these little sockets that mean that you can't take some more of that action because you've got it all corrupted.
Okay, so it's like the Animals of Farthingwood meets Arkham Horror. You're pulled a bad thing out of your bag and now you've gunked up your board.
Oh look, a nice little rabbit. Oh boy, horrors. These are the horrors. Once you've decided to stop doing all your pulling out your bag or all your sockets are full up, then you get to choose some of these tokens to cast the spells that are on your board. And you'll see that there's little icons that you need to match up in order to cast certain spells. Right. So I could say I want to do a stride, and I want to do a soar, and I want to do a restore over here. I haven't quite got the right tokens, but let's pretend I did.
He's striding, he's soaring, he's restoring.
I'm doing everything.
All in one go?
Leftovers go in my little spent pool over here, and we'll get round to drawing them back up a little bit later on. Once everyone's done pulling tokens out their bag and allocating them to the spells they want to cast, you then cast the spells. You do this in turn order. So that first bit, all simultaneous. This bit, you go around choosing what you want to do.
Sick.
These are very interesting. So there's a whole bunch of different spells that you've got, and they're also upgradable.
Oh, we got a flippy tile.
We got a
flippy tile.
You can get slightly more super magical versions of these abilities, but I'm just going to describe the basic ones. And the first one I want to highlight is these movement actions are kind of funky because they depend on what kind of terrain you're moving on.
Interesting.
So the standard stride action just lets you move between grassy tile and grassy tile. That's a golem, not a person.
See? He got it wrong.
I got it wrong too. But the flow tile, the water movement, lets you slalom on down a river, so you can move very quickly. So the board's geography immediately becomes kind of apparent.
Splish, Terra Mystica.
Splish Terra Mystica style, exactly. And then soaring lets you move from one windy space to another windy space. Just as you teleport between the airy spaces, that's what these grey ones represent. So you can move around. But if you go into one of these gnarly purple bordered territories, you can guess what happens.
Corruption.
You get a little bit corrupted.
It's wonderfully colourful, gloopy corruption.
Jazzy,
corruption is usually just purple, but here we've got all sorts of colours
kind of
going on.
Fusion corruption.
I like it.
These other actions will let you sort of do your job of restoring the woodland. So if you're on these spaces, you can see there's these little spots on all of the different woodland spaces, and you can enchant, I think it's called, or restore those spaces using these little tokens that you have that match them. And when you do that, you appease the specific kind of animal that likes that terrain. terrain.
Right.
So if I was over here and I restore this little green thing, I put one up here, and then I go up on the bear track over here, potentially getting myself some tokens, potentially unleashing bears onto the board.
Oh, wow.
Which I can then move around and score using the special bear card that I will earn at the same time.
Oh, he's unlocked the multi-bear bonus.
I've unlocked bears.
Ding, 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 ding.
This will also get you tokens, which you can put in your bag, which you can use as that element, or you can use them for the special bear action or the special bear scoring
So now
action.
you've made friends with bears a bit more, which means you're better at doing green things or activating bears.
Absolutely, and all the different animals have slightly different actions, but also different scoring criteria. So bears like to be alone, I think otters like to be in pairs, and so on and so forth.
Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't watched a nature documentary in a while, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that that's a fact.
Also, if you want to get more tokens in your bag, you can obviously get animal tokens by appeasing the animals, but you can also take a transmute action to turn certain colours into other colours. And you can also enchant the locations with these special rune stones you've got over here. You'll see there's these sort of pleasingly pill-shaped little tokens on each of the territories. And if you want, you can bless it with one of these things, or one of those special cards over there, the funky enchantment cards, placing out one of your little lozenges on that space, and either getting an endgame scoring thing, or a one-use power out of those. And finally, the big old golems, who you whisper to. That's why it's called Whisperwood.
You can whisper to anyone, but whispering to a golem does sound exciting.
It does sound very enticing. When you go over to a golem and you have a little whisper with them, you get to unlock a slot on their special golem card, which again might give you an instant power, might give you a kind of long-term bonus, and at the end of the game, if you made a big friend with a golem, then you're going to get some big points. That's just how games work. All of them should have a golem track.
I think so.
Or a Smeagol track at the very least.
Hey, it's a joke.
So that is a very brief overview of Whisperwood, a game of bumbling around the woodland, having a cozy, nice time, trying to restore things.
Whispering at rocks.
Whispering at rocks, dodging corruption, and maybe just building your bag.
I'd love to build a bag, because even though I did get a bag for the demo purposes, there was nothing in it.
Do you want some tokens?
Yeah.
You can have 3 wet.
Thanks. I'm going to put my hand in right now and enjoy this wet. It's not legal.
Anyone can do it. That's Whisperwood. This is For the Gods.
For the
A game that
gods.
takes place in the fictional country of Greece.
It's here, and you can tell it's Greece because it's made of all these lovely tiles.
You can tell it's Greek because it's a perfect circle.
Yes, much like the world.
This is a game where you are but mortal beings trying to create great temples for the gods that we've got around the board. For the gods. It's the name of the game.
For the gods.
And the way you're going to do this is super duper simple. You're going to do 3 things on your turn. You're going to move, you're going to build, and you're going to draw. All of those actions are powered by these little nubbins that you've got hidden behind your player board.
I'm going to lift mine up to reveal my nubbins, and I haven't. I haven't
got no nubbins.
I haven't put any nubbins there. Don't worry, I'm nubbing. I'm nubbing as fast as I can.
You've got a bunch of these in your little personal bag, and you're going to draw a little set of them every round, and you're going to use them to take the actions in the game. The first one being move. Simply spend one of these little pieces to move your ship across a sea lane from one place to another. I'm going to go over here.
Smashing.
And the next thing you do on your turn is you can build. And this is like the entire game, is this build action.
Yeah.
So when there are no temples on a space, when you build, you will establish a temple, taking one of these bases and putting any number of the same numbered nubbin on that temple space.
Because all the nubbins have numbers, or no numbers.
Or no numbers
These
at
are
all.
classic no number nubbins.
Exactly.
And the only thing that is for matchings.
Yes, exactly. So all that matters is that they have the same number on them, and you can stack them up and pop them like that. And later on, if you have more of the same number, you can continue to build up that temple later on if you wish. That's the other thing you can do when you build. But when you first establish a temple, you will take one of these little god pieces and put it into your bag. So you're not going to get it straight away.
Not to be confused with a cod piece.
Exactly. And then later on, you might draw one of those god pieces later on, and you can use that to cap off one of your temples in a dedication action.
And it's lovely because you've got these special hats that go on top of the buildings, on top of the god things, that match the pits on the pit pieces, so you can tell what pit pieces you've got underneath.
Exactly.
So you can keep adding to your temple, even though ostensibly it looks like it's done. It can keep getting taller and taller.
You can keep putting little pieces in there like that, and you can make it even taller. That's
Honestly,
going to matter later.
already I like this a lot. Just looking at that, because I'm
nice
fundamentally I am a child
who wants to build a big pillar.
Yeah.
Now, why is dedicating a temple to a god important, Matt? Because they'll give you a tax break.
Oh.
No, they'll bestow upon you their special godly powers.
And attacks break.
And attacks break. Depending on which god you dedicate your temple to, we've got 6 gods available here, but there are a whole bunch of them in the game.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of Greek gods.
There's a bunch of them around. You'll play with a sort of randomized set of these. This is sort of the recommended setup for your first game. Depending on which god you dedicate it to, you'll get access to their special power. So for example, Apollo over here means that when you do your draw step at the end of the turn, normally you draw 5 tiles, now you'll draw 7, so you've got a big old hand. Hermes, famously nippy guy.
He is.
Whenever you dedicate a temple to Hermes, you'll get to move your boat, draw 2 more tiles, and do another build action.
Okay.
So you get to continue zipping around the board doing stuff. Poseidon lets you zip around the board, teleport wave style to a different space, and go and dedicate your temple there instead.
The original wet boy.
My favourite of the bunch has got to be Zeus.
Of course.
Whenever-
I mean, you have to say that because otherwise Zeus will smite the heck out of
Exactly,
you. We've
you've
all
gotta
heard
say
the
it.
rumours.
When you dedicate a temple to Zeus, when you place one of these on there, you get to add one of these special foundation pieces to every other one of your temples on that island.
Of course, you support the boss, then the boss will support
The
you.
boss will reward you. So if I did that over here, I'd get to put 1, 2, 3 pieces on all these temples because they're all on the same island, and I'd be elevating all my stuff. Why is that important? Why do you want to build the best pillar? Well, because at the end of the game, the person with the biggest pillar is going to get the points on the token in that region.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's a classic build a big thing, Mexico style. You've got the biggest thing in the place, then you get the points.
Exactly. And if there's a tie, then the number on these little tiles matters. If it's a perfect tie, no one gets anything. Just like real life. That's for the gods. Very simple, straightforward, area control building game. Looks pretty cool.
With pillars and pips.
With pillars and pips. Oh boy, we got a chunky one. This one's huge.
Oh, Diables.
Diables.
It's short for Diabolical Leslie.
It's a sequel to Diablo, the computer game where you kill goblins for money.
Spoilers.
It's not that at all. It's based on a Catalonian traditional performance where people would go down the street with their big old firecrackers, making a load of fun noise, having a big party. Maybe a giant dragon beastie will show up at some point. Don't worry, they're not real. They're just people in costumes. Spoilers again.
If you've ever been to a festival of any kind where people walk down the road doing a parade with loud things and dancing, then this is that.
Yeah.
But it's specifically based on Catalonian culture. We love a niche deep dive.
We do love a niche deep dive. So let's jump into how this thing works. I'm going to give you a bit of a broad overview because there's lots of particular details in this one because it is a big old Eurogame. That's what you're here for. I'll try and keep it straightforward. There's 4 different phases to the game, but we're going to focus on the first phase because where a lot of the action happens. And in that phase, you're going to use your personal player board, which you've put in the middle of the main board here. So
this is confusing. This is not what the game would normally look like, but we've put this here because the board is big enough that we can't really put the camera back any further.
So the 2 kinds of things you can do when you're playing out your performers onto your little performance board are that you could either place one of these performers onto the street over here, or you can activate your little drum group over here. Now let's talk about those performers first. If you put them over here onto the street, you have to give them a little firecracker that goes in their hand. Look at that.
It's very nice.
You could either place them on these spaces on the sides, or right in the middle of the crowd on the middle spaces over here.
Sir, you've dropped your firework. Please,
sorry.
you have to be careful and not do that.
Either way, when you place out these performers, you'll activate the card next to them. So here, if I place it here, I get to activate this card, or if I put them in the middle, they'll activate the card they're currently stood on, and they'll give you access to actions. The other thing you can do is you can activate your drummers, which kind of are in like a little sort of formation over here, and you'll take one of your leader tokens and put it on either this little arrow thing or this little sound thing. When you place it there, if you put it on the arrows, all the ones that are next to arrows will activate the cards above them or below them. If you go for sound, then all the ones on sound spaces will make a bunch of noise, putting you up this soundtrack over here and maybe wowing the crowd.
Just like in real life orchestras, some of the drummers are making noise, but some of them are just faking it.
Some of them are just chilling out.
They're just pretending to drum.
Both of these kinds of placements will give you access to all the different actions of the game, which I'm going to go over now, rapid style. The most exciting one, I think, is of course logistics.
Yes.
One of the actions will let you kind of move these performers into different spaces on their little performer grids, and when they get to the end, they'll slide out and into your supply, letting you then use them. What's really fun is that the big dragons at the back, you can see they have a big sort of fat arrow next to them, which means you need to unlock them by getting all of these guys out the way, and then the dragon goes, oh, finally.
Yeah.
And it can sort of escape from its containment zone.
Yeah.
At which point it gains one of these special power cards that imbues it with the ability to sort of do fun things on the board, but just like the rest, they need a little firework to go on them.
Great. It means that basically the big performance beast has arrived, which means you get one of the show has begun.
Yeah, one of the special cards.
Again, it's nice that if you've ever seen a festival-style parade before, the logistics of this makes sense. You can't put the big puppet dragon through until some people have gotten out of the way.
You can't bring it out straight away.
People need to move. He's big.
Also, you can see that some of these cards have a little camera on them or a little like icon on them. That's to do with this sort of social media wall over on the left. Spectators are snapping pictures and you want to be in them. So if you place the required kind of performer, then you will get to put one of your little camera tokens on that post. Ba-bang, like that. You were in it. Congratulations.
Somebody took a photo of your big dragon.
They did. You're going to get a little bonus. But also, I really quite like this. Other players, or you, can like the posts. Sending these little, if you take that action, you could send a little like and put it on a post, which will get you a little bonus, but it'll also make that space, the actual social media post itself, more valuable for the player who was actually in the picture.
Got it.
Which I think is very cute, because you could also like your own picture a bunch.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Why not? The last kind of action are these sort of square ones that have icons on them, like a little dragon or a little these two masks or the little flame, and those are to do with the main board. So it's time to get rid of our little player board.
Let's move the player board out of the way.
Well, which way are we going? This way?
I have no idea.
Is it going to go up top?
Yes.
That's kind of good because I might bring it back down later on. So precarious and so 3D. As you can see on the main board, there's a bunch of sort of different mini games that you can play with these performers. You send them out and you get a whole bunch of bonuses. You can see there's just an absolute deluge of iconography over here. Generally speaking, the more of these performers you put out, the more points you're going to get at the end of the round when that particular area scores. And if we go back to our little player board, some of these spectator cards like these are going to get sort of thrilled over time by placing these sort of exclamation star little thrilly tokens on them.
Got it.
And when that happens, you'll flip them over. The people have got so excited that they're leaving your main parade and they're running over to this big town square to go and catch the sort of finale of the performance. And then you can put them where you want on one of these different score tracks, and then you slide up this thing, thus increasing the number of points you're going to get for that area when you score it.
So you're basically trying to attract fans to specific areas of this final show in the thing, then you're scoring them.
Your little main player board is going to sort of score you some points along the way, but then the main thing is you're driving them to the grand finale.
And you told me a fun little rub about this before we started, of the fact that at the end of each of the game's rounds, you have to choose to score one of these 4 things. So you might want to try and get one up early and then score it, or you might have one area that doesn't really have any points at all,
and you're like,
but you score it just so you can make another one really successful later on.
Because you can only score each of these areas once for the entire game, so what order you choose to score them in really matters. As well as this, at the end of each round, there are these little tiles that are going to score the whole board in different ways, and you can see these are tiles too. Each of the areas can have a slightly different score.
Crunchy and juicy.
Absolutely.
That's a lot going on there, and that, underneath this, is DIABLES.
This is the Bridges of Shangri-La, and it's a game in which you're going to play a school of mystics trying to spread your influence across this here land in front of us.
Yeah, but careful, if you want to spread your influence very well, then you're probably going to have to go over at least a bridge.
And you know what happens when you go over a bridge, Matt? It crumbles forever.
That's not a good bridge.
It's not a good bridge. The Shangri-La famous for its terrible infrastructure.
It's not a good bridge, but it is an interesting game mechanic.
So we've got our game set up for 4 players here. Each of these different piles of tokens represents a player color, and you're going to be trying to place these tokens onto the board in order to hopefully score some points at the end of the game. There are 3 actions that you can do on your turn. Action 1 is to install a master. You simply take one of these tokens and you place it anywhere you want on the board on one of these spaces that matches its symbol.
Master mushroom, I believe.
Tokens on the bottom of a stack are masters, and the ones on the top are students.
Okay.
The other thing you can do is place students instead of masters, which lets you take 2 tokens and put them on top of existing masters.
Okay, so you can either put one new one down, or you can add to 2 existing ones.
Yes, exactly.
Do they have to be the same one and same one?
I don't know.
Eyeballs on eyeballs, mushrooms on mushrooms?
Oh yeah, they do have to be.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
The third action is like where the whole game lies, and it's the migrate action. This one's a little bit more complicated, but I'll guide you through it by the hand. Don't worry, it's okay.
That's my hand, but your hand may vary. Other hands are available.
The first thing that you do when migrating is you work out if the destination or origin village is stronger. If the destination has more pieces in it, if it is a stronger location than your origin point, then all you're going to do is move students into free spaces. So I move this one to here, and students that have spaces that are already occupied get discarded.
Okay.
So this would go in the bin. But if it's the other way round, if you're going from a strong origin to a weaker destination,
the school takes over.
the school takes over. Your little student over here will displace the master that previously existed. So they get promoted from student to master via the power of migration.
And that's how the education system actually works. And then presumably because the books they're carrying are so heavy, the bridge collapses after them.
It does indeed. The bridge collapses, it's gone for good. You can no longer use that route for the rest of the game. And when all of the bridges, as a result of migration, have collapsed on a location, you place one of these peace tokens on it.
Okay.
Which is a sort of strange fox dog dragon thing.
The Foxdog Dragon is there to let you know that no new knowledge is required. And then we have what I like to call siloed thinking.
Yes, exactly. And the game ends when every single one of these different villages around the board is full up, it's at peace, it's got no bridges left. That triggers the end of the game, and you simply just score 1 point for every master that you have on the board.
Yeah.
So you just top that up, and whoever has the most wins. Very straightforward, simple kind of abstracty Euro game where you're building out these sort of strong cadres of students that you send forth to displace the masters.
And when you've got no more bridges left to burn, the world is at peace.
And
That's Bridges of Shangri-La.
It's time for war. It's time for a fight. It's time for a big old battle on these here hexagons.
Finally.
At last.
I said to myself this morning, today I better have a big old battle or a big old bath.
Or
not
else.
bothered which one, but it's got to be hot.
And it's got to have a big B in it. Bum. This is Gunsen, the battle for Toshi Ranbo. And where is Toshi Ranbo? It's right here in the middle of the board.
Look at that.
The sort of Mechatol Rex of feudal sort of Japan, because this is the legend of the 5 rings. It's from that series of games. You might know some of them. They're out there in the wild. You can play them with your hands.
The world. It was a card game, and now it's loads of things.
Now it's everywhere, and especially here.
And honestly, I like it.
Yeah. This is an area control game in which you're going to be fighting over all of these different hexes on the board, trying to gain 7 achievements by the end of the game. You can see Matt's already done 2 of them.
I've done 2. I've put 2 of my fans on these spaces, which is a little bit presumptuous of me because we're not playing the game.
We're not playing the game.
We're just setting it up and pointing at it. So really, I've made myself look like quite the fantastic
Gunsen
feudal
prodigy.
Japan, the Gunsen prodigy.
Yeah, you're going to place out these. As soon as you achieve these achievements, you're going to put these little fans on the board, and as soon as you get all of them out, you are the winner. And almost all of them cannot be taken away from you, except for one. We'll get back to that later. How you're going to do this is on your turn, you will draft a card from the available little market over here. So Matt, you can take this yellow card maybe, and then you'll socket it on the matching column of your player board.
So you can see my player board over here. This is the recruit action,
And
which
you've just
means
added even more recruition
so
to
now
it.
I get more people when
You
I
do.
recruit, which is like the ideal thing for recruitment.
Absolutely.
I should point out this wooden thing is not a part of the game. We just put it here so that you can see the cards that usually would be here on the camera, but you can't see that because the camera not wide enough for big
not big enough
board.
for the big board game. Once you've socketed your card, you will take the actions of that column from top to bottom. So here in your recruit column, you'll see you're going to get a little guy.
Hexagon arrow.
That's movement. You'll see a lot of that, and it's kind of like the bread and butter of this game is how you're going to move your troops around the board. And when you recruit, you plonk new troops into your little fort on the edge of the board. And when you move them, you can either move them from a hex to another hex, or you can teleport them to these watchtowers. So you can zip around the board a little easier, get in each other's grills straight away. And why you're moving these troops is because you want to claim certain locations on the board. You might want to claim these village tokens, which get you resources and are also one of the victory conditions. You might want to claim these shrines that give you a little bonus that you'll then socket onto the matching column. So here, if you've got that one, you're now getting 2 extra guys when you recruit.
Oh, I see. So some of these spaces have the little shapes of these, which means you can upgrade these abilities by getting things from the board.
Yeah, from getting the shrines, exactly. And the one in the middle is Toshi Ranbo itself. You need a force of at least 5 strength to get in there, and all of your units contribute 1 strength. You might get extras.
There's
from
probably
different
gonna be funky things, yeah.
There's loads of funky things. And if you get that, you get an upgrade, but also you get to flip this over, and it's an achievement spot.
It's a temporary fan slot.
Whoa, which is great because it means you get an achievement, but if someone else comes and takes it, then you don't
Very
get it
gentle
anymore.
Twilight Imperium energy.
Yeah,
there,
a little bit of
right?
the sort of Mechatol Rex.
Do
of
these
Japan.
achievements, but then get this middle achievement, and maybe you'll win, but maybe someone's going to take that middle away from you.
Maybe. Of course, there's going to be fighting in this game. When two forces clash with each other, you're going to have a little battle, which is decided by a dice-based combat system. You'll have a few little things that beforehand, we've got this like combat tracker over here, and you'll have a few things that you'll kind of get to sort of go up organically. So for every little guy you have, you get some swords, and you might find icons from elsewhere.
Sorry, I was just holding these dice out, expecting we were going to use them straight away, but I'll put them down again. And instead, I'm going to use these tiddlywinks of tracking. So we have red for the attacker, blue for the defender.
Yeah, and swords is how sort of strong you are in combat. The little blood droplets is how many kills you get in combat, and the armor is how many kills you block in combat. So you'll start off with a few based on your sort of strength of your force, and maybe some of these special hero characters that you can draft into the game. I'll plonk one down here. They'll give you some little icons, and then you roll the dice and you'll add that to your strength as well.
Right.
But it's kind of interesting. You can see on the top of your little armory board here, the armory column, this shows you that you're going to roll 3 dice and you're going to keep 2. But if you have this combat shrine, then you get to roll 4 dice, and there's other things that'll let you roll more or keep more dice from the total pool, which is interesting.
So you're adding a little bit of variance with the dice rolls, but you've got a lot of stuff pre-baked in terms of like how deadly your forces are, how armored your forces are.
Absolutely. And a lot of that can come from the gently asymmetric stuff that's in this game, because I missed a little rule for you. When you take one of these cards, you can either use it for putting it in one of its columns, or you can ditch it for one of your noble powers down here, which can put heroes in play. They can add these little tactics cards that change how you fight, or they can add entirely new cards into your columns, which are kind of wild cards, which is pretty funky. And finally, each of the factions also has a couple of their own little personal objectives in these cards as well. That's what these two on the end of the scoring thing is. So there's some sort of gentle asymmetry, but everyone's ultimately racing for some of the same things, like building out their buildings onto the boards, or claiming these shrines, or just winning some fights.
So you're all playing the same game, but there's a little bit of spice of how you can win, and there's a little bit of spice of how you can play.
Oh, yeah.
How many different clans are there?
Like 6?
Nice.
I'm gonna say 6.
That's a good number.
I could be wrong. It could only be 1.
It's definitely more than 1. We've got 2 on the table,
At least here. That's Gunsen, battle for Toshi, Ranbo.
6 Sojourns, and I'm completely full. This is 6 Sojourns. A game of, confusingly, 9 rounds.
9 rounds.
And 13 expansions.
There's no 6s.
No
it's
6s.
9s and 13s.
9s and 13s all the way down.
This is a really straightforward game. I read the rulebook and went, whoa.
Yeah.
Games can be that simple. This one is. And then you get it all complicated with all these extra little expansions, which you'll get into later on. The base thing you're going to do in this game, real straightforward. All you do on your turn is buy one of these little cards from the row, paying the coin cost that corresponds to it.
You must pay the coin cost. That's capitalism.
That's just capitalism. Yeah. If I want to buy this oxen, large oxen, I got to pay 4 coins for that.
Right.
And then I will take that card and put it in a little tableau in front of me.
Nice.
That card's going to give me a few little things.
Okay.
The first thing it's going to give me is some actions. This one lets me put 6 people.
We found
it. You're going to put 6 people onto the board. These are your people, these little charming little nubs over here, and you put them in little houses, these things. So I would sort of dispense
I want somebody
them
to
all.
call me their charming little nubs.
You're my charming little nub, Matt.
That's very sweet.
Then you're also going to get these trades at the top, we'll come back to them later, and an end game scoring condition. So this is...
Gain 1 house when you buy a 4-cost card.
That's not an end game
That's
scoring
not
condition.
an end game condition. That's an ongoing condition.
It's an ongoing effect. Some of them will give you end game scoring conditions.
I believed you.
4 points if you have at least one of all 7 resources. You gotta catch them all. You do that 9 times, and then you get to the end of the game where you will score points for territories that you control on the board, meaning you've got more pieces there than anyone else. That'll get you a bunch of points. And you will also score points for all of these little, I think they're called trades icons you have on the cards.
So these little icons here, the little...
I said we were going to bring them up later,
Yeah,
and later
here
is
they are.
now.
It's Chekhov's trades.
So if you have a bunch of like these shirts, then you're going to get some points, or a bunch of these cauldrons or whatever, right?
Right.
That's the basic game. However, there's so many different things that you can chuck in, and you can either just pick and choose the ones you want, or you can play like a little campaign that gently escalates things. So for example, I'll give you the rapid fire tour. You've got the places expansion, which makes some of these little bits on the board more relevant for your control. So this one, if you control the
like
West Graveyard.
So you want to like, where's the West Graveyard?
There it is.
It's over there.
Right
We
over
found
there.
it. We
Isn't that
found
cute?
It. That is cute.
So these will give you points for controlling certain areas on the board. You've got specialties, which will give you extra points. points for being involved in certain trades. You've got sea serpents, which are going to place these little tokens on the sea spaces, causing disruptions, but also extra points.
It's the thing on the box.
It is the thing on the box.
We
found it. We found the sixes and we found the serpents. You've also got like sort of modifier expansions, like the feuds expansion, which makes it more valuable for controlling certain bits of territories. You've got mountains. I don't know if these are on camera. I'll have to shuffle them over.
Let's get some mountains on the camera.
Let's get some mountains on the camera.
Whack the mountains on the map. All right, there's some mountains in there. I can see them.
We've made a right mess of 6 Sojourns already. You've got these airships. We'll go through all these little components that I've splurted onto the board. You've got these airships that let you teleport around, mountains, which are obviously going to do the mountain thing, getting in the way. Shrines that you can build that are worth points for you now, but if someone takes control of them, then they're not going to be worth points for you anymore, Sonny Jim.
No.
That's basically all of 6 Sojourns. You can do as many of these expansions as you want. You can chuck them all into one big pot, or you can play through the expansions as a little campaign, sort of gently
an exciting modular card game area control world thing. Yeah, and also we've invented for the first time, I'm proud to announce, the Tom Splurge Teach technique,
it's
where
really
you put all of the components on the board at once, and then you just point at them, and then you're like, you got it, let's go.
I wouldn't recommend that being the primary way people play 6 Sojourns.
Or any game, frankly. Oh, Thomas.
I've made a right mess.
You absolutely have.
I'm so sorry to the sea serpents and everyone else who I've hurt.
That's 6 Sojourns.
That's 6 Sojourns.
Stag, 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 stag. Stag, finally. A game for lads.
A game for the boys where you can marry a beetle. That's right, it's Stag. The game of becoming your favourite beetle. There's a giant deck of beautiful beetle cards in this game, and you are going to grow many of them from a grub to a pupa to a full-grown stag.
Oh, so we have, I guess, McCartney as a stag. Would you call Ringo a grub?
Yeah, I definitely call Ringo a grub.
He's the best grub in the business, though.
He's the best grub in the biz. So how does this game work, Matt? It's a game about growing beetles from a little beetle to a big beetle, and the way you're going to do this is with a nice simultaneous little puzzly Euro game, where you're going to place these action tiles on your little action board in order to choose the actions that you want to take. And you'll notice this little strip in the center of your board here determines which actions you're going to get to do. So for example, you're going to get a card, and you're going to go up some trait tracks, and you're going to get another card.
I'm happy with that.
You're a fiend for cards.
I love the Beatles.
You're going to place 3 of these, and then you can arrange them sort of depending on which action you want to take. You can kind of slide them up and down.
Okay.
But what's real interesting is that these resource icons, you can see on your board, you're only going to get the ones that you don't cover up.
Nice. So you just get the resources of the things you don't cover up, and then you get to take the actions of the thing that is in the line in the middle.
You're doing literally every single resource right now, and we should bring over a resource tray to show all the lovely little wooden bits that you get in this game. Wow.
I'm beetle maxing. Don't mind me. I'm jiggling.
The reason you're getting all of these lovely little resources in their lovely little resource tray is because you're going to grow your beetle from measly grub all the way up to full-on beetle. And you'll notice down the sides of these cards, you have a sort of menu of different things that each stage of the life cycle needs. So at the top, you got how many eggs it's going to cost.
Oh my gosh, that's 5 eggs.
5 eggs
in this economy.
Wow, look at that.
Look at the noz on that one. That's spectacular.
This is like Wingspan, but for beetles.
For beetle enthusiasts. Honestly, I'm into that.
Yeah. So it's eggs at the top. Then to grow it from a grub into a pupa, you're going to need thyme, pink thyme, some water and some wood. Then to get it from a pupa into a beetle, you're just going to need a bunch of thyme. And then to get it into a fully fed stag, you'll need a little section
3
of
pairs.
Or sap.
3
or
pairs.
3 pairs.
Anyone who's played Pokemon knows you feed a small beetle 3 pairs and it will evolve into a massive one that eats
a giant
things.
lizard. So you're going to be growing these beetles out. There's also a bunch of other nice little things you can do, like you can also tuck them under your player board, which gives you an endgame scoring thing, and it's going to give you a little bonus that you can have hidden under your player board and a scoring objective.
You've got like a little window, so you can see a little bit of a card and the bottom of the card. It's very clever. It's like a tableau hider.
It is. It's really good stuff. There's loads of other little details as well here, like these little trait tokens are going to get you bonuses. You've got these tracks you can go up over here that whoever's on the top of them is going to get a special ability. But then, here's the real twist that I got to the end of the rulebook and went, wow, this is mega.
Right.
In a game where you're sort of like quietly assembling your beetles as best as you can, the end game of this is really made me laugh. Because once your beetle manages to make it from a grub, ba-bum, to a pupa, ba-bum, to finally a beetle, ba-bum, and then when it gets fully fed, it enters into the beetle showdown.
The Stag Zone.
Yeah, when there's just one of them on their own, nothing happens. They just chill out. But when you have a second fully fed beetle, you have a stag showdown where you get one of these forage tokens and one of these fight tokens.
All right.
And then you secretly go 3, 2, 1, bam, and reveal which one you picked. If you both forage, you both get a little something. If one of you forages and one of you fights, then the person who fights gets everything. If you both fight, then that's a sad time for all
So you have the
time.
prisoner's dilemma, but for bugs.
Exactly.
All
It's
right.
kind of delightful. Also, the board rotates as well. Probably should have pointed that one out. Look at these
the heck?
pupils spinning round. The things they can do with cardboard these days. That was a little wobbly overview of Stag, a game of making beetles into the most powerful bugs they've ever been. We've got a returning champ for you here on Board Games Direct. Guards of Atlantis was previously featured in an earlier Board Games Direct.
Yes.
Why is it back? What's it doing here?
Because it's different now.
It's different now. It's smaller.
Yeah, check this out.
Check this out.
Slim.
Wow.
The last one was at least this deep.
Yeah, the last one was sort of like this. Like
Normal,
a base.
normal
Normally it was
style.
this kind of dimension, but now it's almost a little bit thicker than a brass box.
And almost a little bit thicker than a brass box. That sounds like the start of a rude song from the
does.
1920s.
They've slimmed down Guards of Atlantis and they've streamlined it, so now in this base box you get some basic heroes to get you started, and they've changed how the release structure works. If you want new heroes, they're in little packs. I'll show those in just a second.
It's the same game.
It's the same game. It's the same game, and if you've not played Guards of Atlantis, we'll give you a little overview of how it works.
Because they purposefully put the champions in this box that are the easier ones to play.
Yeah,
which
the
is
ones
not a bad thing, because it's quite complicated.
It's complicated in its sort of like implications, but the actual game is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
This is a tabletop version of a MOBA game. Think about your Dotas, your Leagues of Legends. It's like that, but made of cardboard and plastic.
I can't stop thinking about my Dotas and my League of Legends a lot of the time, if I'm honest.
He's an addict.
Haven't touched the stuff in years, mind.
It's true. And now you're being tempted back by its siren song.
Tempt me.
I don't like that at all.
I don't like it either.
So you're cooperating as a team of these champions. We've already got 2 on the table here because more would be crazy. And you are trying your best to push these waves of minions into the opponent's base, which you can see blue base over here, orange base over here, or just beat them up a lot. That's the other victory condition. And the way that the rounds work is very straightforward. All you're going to do is you're going to choose one of the cards in your hand to play on this little turn space here on your player board. Then everyone will reveal that card, and in initiative order, this little number at the top, you'll resolve their effects. And these cards are very straightforward. There's cards that let you move around the board so you can get closer to other people. There's cards that let you whack your enemies, potentially doing damage to them unless they have a defense card that they can play. And you can also take out these little minions on the board, earning yourself some money, which you can use later on to upgrade these cards, giving you access to more effects, better numbers, better digits. Also, all of the champions have slightly different play styles. They all do slightly different things. There's some asymmetry to kind of get into. Your guy over there, all about you jumping in, stabbing someone in the neck, and then teleporting out, maybe stealing a bit of their money while you're at it.
Tiger Claw the cut purse.
What a nasty guy.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of these in the box to explore. They've all got a different kit that you can play as, and if you want more of them, you can get some hero packs. Star Wipe. We got the Devoted Hero Pack, which is code word for good guys, and we've got the Defiant Hero Pack, which is code word for nasty boys.
Yeah, you've been very defiant at the moment,
Yeah,
Tom.
very
Therefore,
defiant,
I'm
young
going
man.
to jump over your head, steal your money, and possibly stab you in the back.
So mean. You get 5 heroes in each of these boxes, and they are slightly more complex than the ones in the base game, in the new base game. And you can mix and match. You can just get 1 pack, you can get 2, you can do whatever you want. It's all compatible with everything. And, Matt, there are 10 new heroes coming to Guards of Atlantis, which I'm going to explain in a little cutaway section right now.
Whoa.
Welcome to the Guards of Atlantis 2 New Hero Hype Zone. 2 new packs are available, the Steadfast pack and the Nocturne pack, each of which has 5 heroes in it. We'll talk about the Steadfast hero pack first, and this guy on screen right now is Kendrick the Shifter, a satyr who can change form and cares about the facing of his miniature on the battlefield. Normally you'd only care about adjacency, but now what direction you're pointing in matters. Isaac, the Sentinel, is a big old robot with an even bigger top hat and a tiny little cup of tea. And his whole thing is that he has to manage an energy resource used to power up some of his more exciting abilities. Quentin, the Trophy Hunter, is a fugitive who adapts to the battlefield conditions. They start the game pretty weak, but then over time will snowball as they hit different types of enemies, because they're gaining trophies. You see, it makes sense. Valkyra, the Battleborn, is a Valkyrie warrior that's kind of Guards of Atlantis' version of Huskar, are, keen to live every combat right on the edge, gaining and lowering their own health in order to deal more damage. And finally, in the Steadfast pack, you have Jet, the Rocketeer, this kobold creature who loves putting bombs on the board. And the bombs? They explode. Look how much he's scaring these poor little cacti. He's no good. On the flip side, in the Nocturne hero pack, we have Cordelia the Witch, whose attacks will shorten the range of her opponents, presumably because she's thrown this green bubbling goo at them. And that's just not fair. Desmond the Twin Blade looks like he's come straight out of Diablo, and he's got 2 whole swords for whacking with, which means he has 2 basic attacks rather than 1, and a lot of his other effects revolve around powering up those attacks to do even more damage. He's the swords guy. If you need a sword guy, he's got 2 swords. That's 2 swords. That's 1 too many swords. This ominous-looking character is Luther, the Fell Rider, who can either stay mounted on his big, scary horse, galloping across the battlefield and doing big, fast hits, or instead can dismount and be slow and more precise. Gin, the Darkstalker, looks like the kind of hero who might quietly melt my brain if I chose to play her. She's got these shadow tokens that will mirror her actions, letting you do things in 2 different places at once, and can create reflections of other heroes that you can attack instead of them to wound them. And finally, in the Nocturne pack, we have Zeth, the Voidspawn, a sort of cosmic entity that's outside of our very reality, able to create pocket dimensions on the board, bending the geography of the very map to her will, which just seems very powerful. Why would you let her do that? Stop her now. So that is a very brief overview of the new heroes available in the 2 Guards of Atlantis hero packs, and of course, everything is compatible with everything else. There are now 42 different heroes available for this game, and all of them will be available in the upcoming Kickstarter, which does not have a launch date just yet, but will probably arrive sometime in early 2027.
So here we are, Guards of Atlantis 2. It's a pretty interesting game. We actually reviewed it a while ago.
You can check that out.
I think a lot of it is the fact that it might be for you, it might not be for you because it's so specific. So actually, the fact that they've put it in a small starter box so you can just have a play around with it and see if you like it, honestly seems very smart.
Very smart, yeah. And then you can expand it if you want with all these hero packs. They got a new one coming. That's Guards of Atlantis. Matt, how would you like to make yourself a little beverage using one of these slim glasses over here?
A little glass of drink.
What do you want in yours?
Pink.
Some pink?
Absolutely.
Bit of green?
Absolutely. Never say no to a bit of green.
And what about 3 greys?
3 greys, and I might top it off with a little bit of no.
This is the mix. It's a game in which you're making cocktails.
I think you were going to offer to make me a drink at the start. How would you like a nice little drink? But no,
well, we sort of made you one, didn't we? In a way.
It doesn't look terribly refreshing because this is a board game.
It's not drinkable.
It's an actual beverage.
Yet. This is a game in which you are running yourself a little cocktail bar, making cocktails for your guests, trying to make them a nice pina colada, a rum punch, maybe a tequila sunrise. But before you do that, you need to get their cards from there. And how you're going to do that is by doing a little bit of worker placement.
You have to entice the customer into your bar before you can make them a drink.
Yeah, this is true. The sort of gameplay loop of this is quite straightforward. You're trying to get yourself a client, then you're trying to make them a drink using these little lozenges over here, delightful, colourful lozenges. Then you serve them that drink, and you score them, and you upgrade your sort of general engine.
Your little bar-making area.
Yeah, exactly. So there are these little actions on your player board, and on your turn, you're going to place one of your available little workers on one of these slots. You can also do an additional action as well, like getting some extra resources. We won't talk about those, but there's a little bit of flexibility. It's not just place a worker. You also get to do some extra little bits. And then these actions are fairly self-explanatory. So this one at the top lets you get a new client from over here. And here's all of our clients. You can see they've got a bunch of iconography on them, but the bit we're going to care about right now is what ingredients they require
want in the drink. My client looks an awful lot like a pisco sour.
Oh, they are a pisco sour. My client looks a lot like a vodka soda.
Ooh.
You socket them in your little slot on your player board, showing that you're currently serving that client. And then the next action you can take is to get those ingredients from the bar supply over here. So I'm going to get some of the prerequisites, and I'm going to put them, boom, boom, in the little glass as I go, filling it up, making sure that they're ready to have a nice beverage.
So you've got some blue and some, you don't need grey in this one, you've made a mistake, but that's okay.
That's fine.
You just pretend that was the right colour, but you still need some more stuff.
I do need more stuff, so I'm going to have to keep taking that action to get more stuff from the supply, or using those additional actions in order to kind of fill out the gaps. But when I do eventually want to serve my client, I want to make other money out of it. That's where these tip dice come in, which when you serve a customer, you're going to roll them and you're going to get some extra cash, but you can acquire more from up here if you want to get that big Billy bonus. There's also a few extra things you can do to kind of make your engine run a little bit smoother, like getting these technique cards over here, or on this sideboard that's just out of shot, you can acquire some sort of skill tiles that'll give you passive or active bonuses to make the whole thing a little smoother. And you can also get even more seats in your bar, which of course come with a little glass. That'll be another spot where you can then serve more customers.
So you can serve a different kind of drink to a different kind of person.
Yeah.
And it means that when ingredients are not available in a shop, perhaps you can start working on another
Work on your other client.
Whilst you keep telling someone, don't worry.
Don't worry.
The pineapple man will be back in a minute. I will make you that drink.
I promise. As you gain these bonuses, as you serve these customers, you're building towards this interesting thing, which is that once you've placed out all of your workers for the round, the next turn you get, you don't place any workers. You instead perform a setup, which is listed on the bottom of your board here, and that's kind of running your engine, and that's what all this extra iconography on these cards means. When you see this little swirly-whirly symbol at the bottom, it means you get to do this in your setup. So you want to pick the right clients so that when you then do your setup at the end of the round, you'll get stuff to then service the next clients that you have. You can become like a sort of specialized bar. You know, you only make drinks that contain green in them because your engine just pumps out shed loads of green.
Yeah. Does anyone want another dollop of green in their drink?
Please. My family, they're so thirsty. And finally, let's talk about the technique dice. Here it is on my little board in its own little grid. And this you're going to move around to get little bonuses as you hit these icons, but also you can upgrade it to get it onto other faces to unlock whole new parts of the bar experience. There's a lot more detail that we're not going to go into because it's a big game and there's lots to kind of explore, lots of icons to prod at. If you like your big Euro games, and this is one of them, it's got a whole ton of these delightful little lozenges.
Yeah. So many different resources, all of them liquidy things.
All deeply quaffable, I think is what people say. That's The Mix, a game about making cocktails shaky style.